false alarm.
Practice room.
Yeah, right. Time is now 7 o'clock. This is Road Town Council staff meeting is now in session. Ms. Gary, if you could take roll, please.
Joe Cox.
Present.
Jacob Everett.
Present.
Dennis Johnson.
Present.
Eric Hayden.
Present.
Emily Pearson.
Present.
We have quorum with all members present. Moving along, I'm not going to follow the agenda order tonight, so we can get some people out of here for stuff they don't need to be here for. So, anybody have anything to add to tonight's agenda? I've got a couple items for Dan Strong under plan. I've got the permit under wastewater, Terry. Anything else?
I have a conference coming up.
Conference under clerk treasurer. Okay. I can't remember. My brain's fried. Do I need a motion to amend the agenda for staff?
No.
I didn't think so. All right, we're good to go. So we're going to jump right into town council. Let's talk 216th Street. Eric, you want to talk a little bit about that?
So we got an email from Brad Davis where they are looking at doing an NPO grant for work on 216th Street. And I guess this was done back in 2017 maybe,
Correct.
where they applied for it and they didn't get it, but they had that, there was a bike trail at that point. So there's a couple questions. One, do you want a bike trail? Two, are we willing to fund, go in partners, not knowing how much it's gonna cost? So I think Brad came back and said the total, or his estimate was, Dan, if you know offhand. $1.2 million.
And they're saying they want us to cover 20% of the non-match, or the match amount, right?
Whatever the match amount, yes.
20% of that amount? Or would he want us to cover the full match?
No, whatever our percentage would be, and I'm not sure, at least 25.
Was it 25?
25%.
Okay, I was going off the top of my head.
And there are costs that are not part of the match, his email said.
And then what was not?
Land acquisition and some
Yeah.
other stuff is
If you
not.
put the trail in, that's correct.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
But the trail's what's going to increase our points to make us competitive in that grant, right?
Still not.
Could help, yes.
I think that's, yeah, okay. So first things first, when it comes to talking about 216th Street, we do have some decisions to make. It's been a topic for that area of annexation, so we'd have to decide if we want to take in the road at that point. Should we decide to pursue annexation?
I don't know that you have an option, do you?
I don't know.
I think at least,
Got to take in half, don't you?
no, I think it's forced the whole thing if you annex, isn't it?
Well, that's what we had to do with 236 and Tollgate. They don't allow center line annexation anymore. Yes, they have to look at it and make sure that part of that road wasn't built, so I don't think it is. But you are right, if they did MPO funding, something you would have to consider would be a similar situation with Athens Township, with Dunbar Road, because they may not be able to get that funding if they don't own that road. So they might come back and say, we want to keep the road in order to get that funding in the road.
I wouldn't have any objection to that. That was actually kind of in my plans to have that discussion anyway, so.
Yeah, I just didn't think we had a choice. So, I mean, I can reach out to Brad and have a discussion of what the potential future may look like. If that's what you guys want me to do.
I think it'd be worth having the discussion.
I mean, I guess, would we be interested in signing up for that, a PAT?
Signing,
Up for a PAT and partnering with the county? I mean, I don't know that I have enough details yet. I have to go back and.
yeah, I mean, in theory, I would favor it, but without knowing the details, it's hard to say.
And I think keeping in mind that MPO funding is 3 to 5 years out, I think they say 5 years, but sometimes it's a 3-year cycle.
Okay.
And it's someplace usually between that 3 and 5 years before they would get funding for that project and MPO.
In that case, I think I'd be all for it.
I have a question, Dan. Cicero's applied for MPO before directly.
That's our causeway.
We did that at the Causeway, and then, we've, tried a couple different times through the MPO to fund Main and Jackson Street. But, based on safety is a big
Right.
factor for that, and we didn't get it for safety reasons, so.
My only question would be, if we join in on this, is there any other MPO projects that we would see it as a higher priority? Or maybe we don't think we're gonna pursue MPO in the near future?
The only thing that might be a possibility for MPO, and I don't know that we have much luck at it, would be from Tollgate to the Causeway, or going back and trying from Main to Jackson again, but it does appear from the last two times we went through that cycle, we have much luck, so I don't know that we would have anything for MPO. Most areas, or something you can think of, no.
We've already been into the intersection twice.
Yep, understood. All right, thank you.
And I think most of those funding mechanisms will have to come from community crossing matching grants for some of those projects.
So we're looking at what? Potentially 100 grand?
No, it's more than that. If you have to share, if you put the path in and you have to share in that cost.
So the 1.2 is not including the path?
No, that did not include land acquisition.
Okay.
So I think my questions back to him is possible annexation area, would they keep the road in that case? And what are expected costs from Cicero? I mean, that new Noblesville development is gonna use that section of road significantly, I would suspect.
Absolutely.
Eric, if I could chime in, since you're gonna ask those questions, ask about the match, because I know sometimes the matches are different for population and who's applying. If you don't mind asking that question, just make sure that we do have the right match in that.
I assume if we say no, they're not going to pursue the project, correct?
Don't know.
I mean, this says we're only 25% of the match, so they could definitely pursue it without us.
It said 25% of match.
That's what I'm reading. It says local match would be around 1.2 million. Cicero's portion represents about 25% of the total, so
Oh, so the 1.2 is the match?
yeah, the total project's 6
That's-
million.
That seems what I was, because I was thinking it was gonna cost us like 250 or 300.
Yeah, so
300 grand.
25% of 1.2 is 300, obviously, so what I'm reading, and he said these are very rough numbers, but what I'm reading is it's a $6 million project, excluding the path, so if you add the path, it's even more.
I think they also would accept a letter of support even if you didn't want to do the match. I think they're really looking for support to try to drive that project this time, so.
So this is being driven by the county because it's a county road at the moment?
Part of it is, at least portion up by 19 is.
I think the only part that we have would be by Greystone Village, that small section there, and then the rest of it's county road.
You know, I don't even know though, when that was put in, if we took the whole road in there or not. I don't know.
I think he addressed that in the email, did he, Jacob? You
What?
mentioned something about the town had part of that road already.
I don't know, there's a bunch of emails here.
Okay.
It is? Okay.
What is?
It's actually listed.
The whole section?
No,
The
just,
Greystone.
Oh, okay.
okay, then go with that.
So that would make sense why they're asking us for the match.
Mm-hmm.
But, you
So the.
And maybe that's how they
question
came
is-
up with 25%.
know, right.
So the question is 300K to widen that road.
I mean,
And again, that's with, I think, like a wide shoulder, not the path.
Yes.
So if you go actual path instead of like wide shoulder, it's even more.
is path necessary to 19?
What's going down there?
I mean, if it ran all the way up to Cumberland, wouldn't it intersect with the Steve Nation?
Certainly could keep in mind if you think down the road that you want to annex it in, then, you know, subdivisions requirements are that there's sidewalks, we allow paths instead of sidewalks, so you could have required the subdivisions to put in the path.
But we don't require that of commercial, or do we?
We require sidewalks for commercial also.
Okay.
Okay, so as the consensus that we will do a letter of support, not sure about the matching portion yet,
I'm good with that,
I'm good.
but I would ask your questions.
Yeah, I think if they want us to make commitments to the match, we probably need more info.
But I think we should be transparent with them with what our intent is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would probably all love to see that corridor improved.
So we good there?
yep.
Good, okay. All right, moving along, Frank, Municipay?
Yeah, hey, we are, currently upgrading to our new planning system. You guys are all aware. One of the things that we want to be able to do with this new system is have a click to pay option. We currently cannot do that with our, paygov.us. It's not a system that's supported by the new system. So they have Municipay. I didn't know if I needed, any guidance on this or not, but, all required from us is a link to a bank account or the ability to do that. Doesn't cost us anything, it's included with the, system, and it has a similar fee structure set up like paygov.us. So, that's really it.
So you don't need any money?
No, we don't need any money, and,
That was my only question. Music to our ears.
I didn't know if we had like a contract with another company that
No,
we're not allowed to do anything like that.
not with PayGov.
Okay.
I have a quick question, Frank. So we have the fees we charge, I assume are set by ordinance.
For PayGov,
No,
No.
yes, our fees are set by ordinance.
My only question would be if we're passing along the processing fee, is there anything we need to update in our ordinance to allow that fee to be charged?
We're not collecting it.
I know we're not collecting
And
it.
they
I
can
just would
still
run that
come
by
in-
Aaron.
They can still come in and pay, but yeah, that's a valid question.
we don't do that now. There's nothing in the ordinance to, adjust for that 3.5%.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. I would ask Aaron, but.
So, in theory, do we have a consensus that he's good to go ahead and
Yeah,
do it
yeah,
pending
yeah,
Aaron's
yeah.
review of that?
Okay.
Good with that?
Yep.
Write it down.
Okay.
Dan had at least one item. Do you want to do that now?
It's all you do, sorry. Jump right up, man.
So I actually, actually had a couple of things, and one of those being is the outdoor seating areas that the town created. Anyway, the outdoor seating areas that the town developed, and we do have Broncos that is interested in doing outdoor seating. So they went through the special accession process with the Board of Zoning Appeals, and the Board of Zoning Appeals said they could do outdoor seating, which is part of the process. They went through the Planning Commission for the aesthetic review overlay district for the outdoor seating. But the issue becomes that is town property. So the town council would have to approve them to be able to use the town sidewalks. And in discussion with Mr. Culp would like to create an agreement to allow them to do so, and with insurance to protect the town and some of those things. But Broncos would like to get permission if sooner than later because of the nicer weather. So for consideration at the town council meeting Tuesday evening to potentially allow them to work with Mr. Culp and move forward with doing outdoor seating. As you saw, they did install their French doors. The Planning Commission allowed them through the aesthetic review process up to 6 tables, 24 seats, and then also at Mr. Zawadzki's discretion to allow them to have umbrellas and what those might look like.
they threw out potentially the color of red or black, but in talking to the business owner, they're leaning towards black. But that was for Mr. Zawadzki to review that.
Hope you like black, Frank. Hey, real quick, Dan.
Yes, sir.
The town went through this whole reconstruction of sidewalks and all that, clearly with the intent of working with businesses on outdoor seating.
Correct.
It seems unnecessary to me that that has to go to BZA.
Well, the only reason that they had to do that today, it's in the special exception.
Yeah.
That restaurants are permitted, but that is in our zoning ordinance, and we certainly could amend that to exclude those areas.
I
but-
would consider that.
And I think the other option, yeah, I think that's probably the best
Just
way.
food for thought. I mean,
Sure.
it should, to me, in my mind, if that's what we build them for, it shouldn't have to go to BZA. It should still have to go through Plan Commission, and I think council's appropriate, but just my thought.
And I'll speak to Mr. Culp to see if there's a way to do that. And what that might look like. There might be a simpler way.
There's a lot of things I obviously didn't think
I'm not
about.
saying it's the right answer, I'm just thinking it's something we should look
No,
at.
I agree with you. I mean, it's a valid point.
And again, I think, sorry, just to finish that, you know, it maybe not every restaurant in Cicero, but in the areas where we clearly intended that.
On the four corners.
Yeah.
Certainly, that makes sense. So then the second piece of that is, so in speaking with Broncos, they would like to be able to serve in the near future wine and beer in the outdoor seating area. So with that being said, there is a town ordinance that exists today, which is 93.09, if I got that correct, and I believe it is, that says that you cannot have alcohol on the public streets and the public sidewalks. So we would need to, and speaking to Mr. Culp, if we would allow those four corners to be able to serve beer, alcohol on those four corners, then we would need to amend our town ordinance to allow that to happen.
We can do that without a door?
Yes.
If we did a door, would it just eliminate the need for that?
My understanding, we would still have to have that, amend our ordinance.
Yeah, we need to have a discussion about Dora at some point too, so.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm all for having him amend that ordinance and for those four corners and get it here. And that was the sole purpose of doing that.
I'm good with it.
And again, I think having that agreement, including liability protection for the town related to that outdoor seating, ties into that decision as well, so I'm good with it.
And there's some things that the business owners would have to do, because I don't know for sure that, that any of the business owners that their permits would allow them to bring alcohol out to an outdoor seating area on those four corners. So there's some work they'll have to do on their ends as well, so. But I just wanted to have this discussion, and the main thing I think would be the discussion around Tuesday night, whether you would want a representative from Broncos to be here to ask for approval to do the outdoor seating area on the town sidewalks, or I can cover that. I'll leave that up to the board, so.
I'm fine with you covering
Yeah,
it.
if you want to cover it, I'm
Same.
good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Can we add that to the agenda for Tuesday then?
Please, thank you. And then the only other thing, if it's okay, I'll just cover this under planning as opposed to moving on to the
Yeah,
project
absolutely.
coordinator. So it would be the community crossing matching grant for East Jackson Street. And that would be from State Road 19 or Peru Street to the eastern town limits. And consideration, I think all of you got an email from Mr. Bryant that cost that he initially thought was going to be around $300,000 as we did the walkthrough and everything else, saw some additional issues. And it appears his estimate's $532,634.
532.
Yeah, it's $532,634.
In that estimate, how long is that job to take?
We won't know that until we get into working with the contractors. So you have, I believe it's up to 2 years to finish the project. But of course, that would be a different timeline for that project, so. Or did I answer your correct?
No, my question is when they start it, how long until it's completed?
I don't know that I can give you an answer on that today. So I think that would be, once we get into the scope of work of trying to determine what that would be, I think it would be a lot faster than what we did West Jackson Street. And I don't know, Terry, you have any idea how long you think that project would be?
Well, that's a lot, like new energy, so I would see this project going a lot quicker, because it's gonna be mostly mill and pave. We're gonna mill deeper in some areas, but it is just mill and pave. We're not doing sidewalks, we're not, there is a little bit of stormwater work, because there's a catch basin problem, but I can't see that being that long of a project. And when we go out to bid, we can stipulate how long it got. The reason we don't, we give them a lot of room to get more bids, better bids, we don't tie them down. But, I mean, the council can tighten that, timeframe down on their own.
I mean, I would say if you look at just the mill and pave of West Jackson Street, how fast that was done. If we're strictly dealing with that and some of the stormwater, which is minor on the other end, that it would be a short window of time.
Week or two?
Yeah, a couple of weeks. probably.
Right, a couple of weeks, is that, and that
Max.
was 5 inches of mill and pave.
Yeah,
So,
so,
and we're kind of looking at the same thing, only in some areas we went deeper than that, but.
Not all some of it is.
I'd go out and say that I'd like a little latitude, that I'd like to think it'd be 30 days or
Well, I
45 days,
I was
so.
looking through the line items, and it just struck me as odd, because I'm visualizing in my mind how long it took them to do this,
Yes,
the milling and paving. So I thought a week or two, and there's $40,000 in there for traffic control. And so I've just, yeah, I could do that for a
Sure.
couple of weeks.
I got U-turns.
well, if you look at,
I'll shut up.
if you look at the scope, I mean, Moore's Landing Drive, they're gonna do from 236 to Lionswood, and I think they have that scheduled for 3 to 4 days as an entire project. So when you're looking at milling paving by itself, it's a pretty fast project, so.
Okay.
So anyway, the grant eligible portion of that amount is 80%. So that would be $426,107.20. And then the town's required 20% match would be $106,526.80. Keeping in mind, though, that it does not include Mr. Bryant and United Consulting's fees for the engineering pieces of that, because that's not grant eligible. And I don't know what that number would be, so looking back at Morris Landing and Catherine, I think those engineering fees were about $96,000, so I would anticipate it'd be that or more, so,
So we're 200 in.
yes.
Can somebody, is there anything specific Mr. Bryant saw that took him from, that you can explain that took him from 300 to 532?
Well, I think some of that he added in some inflationary costs from when we got the quotes on West Jackson Street. And then when we got in there, I think they noticed there was some additional stormwater work that needed to be done. And then also, as Mr. Cooper said, I think there's some additional work that they need to do on the subsurface, and I'll let Terry speak to that for sure, so.
Right. When Keith and I actually talked, I knew that the bases went away on that street, on the road.
Mhm.
And Keith, when he gave me 300,000, he didn't realize until he walked it with me how bad the base work needed to be done. And so that's the reason why it went up substantially, because he actually seen that there was more base work when he walked it with me than he originally thought. But what you're getting, if you'll notice, you're getting a lot of troughing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Oh, I agree, it's in bad shape.
and so.
So my question, we've talked about stormwater improvements. The only stuff I see on here, storm, is like 420.
Yeah, 27,000.
Yeah.
Correct.
So is there other stuff storm related embedded in any other numbers, or is that?
No, that's
That's it.
the only part of the stormwater, because when they done Jackson Street
risk
Right.
of those problems. And we actually pulled some of the manholes to make sure that everything was still holding up good, and it appeared to be holding up pretty good. But, since we've done the project in 2019, we've noticed that there's been some water accumulation and
Mhm.
some areas, and so that was, adding some additional catch basin and some plumbing work.
And I think you were also working and fixing a low area down by Catherine Street.
Yes.
Also on Jackson Street,
Yes.
which
Yes, we've been
added a
getting some
little cost to
complaints
that.
from, the guy, the gentleman that lives at, to be on the northeast corner of Jackson Street, Catherine Street, the water standing in his yard, is, some of it's self-inflicted, but, so, we kind of thought maybe that would be the time to go ahead and redo that line also.
If you wanted to trim this budget, what would you do?
You want my opinion?
Yeah.
So
I want both of your opinions.
I would be cautious doing that because I think that's one of the reasons that potentially we're working on it as soon as we are.
Yes, that's my opinion also, that's the reason we're doing it again, just for 2019, because I was told there was some budget problems in, so they cut the budget, pay how much base they put in.
So you went shallower? Is
Yes.
that a simple way to say it?
Right, and because in that project, it was like we've done on West Jackson, it was sidewalks, it was.
Right, yeah,
street
right,
lights.
right.
And so, I wasn't here, but I was told that that's where they trimmed the budget the last time, is how deep of the base they went.
And that contractor, I met the contractor out there and had a discussion, they confirmed. So basically, we're paying a little more now to fix the last time.
We could theoretically not do the entire stretch. I mean, I agree, it's not in good shape, I'm not arguing with that. Just trying to figure out where we're gonna come up with a couple $100,000. Because it doesn't come out of your money, but budget, right?
The match normally does.
Oh, it normally does.
Right.
I was thinking we'd have to take it out of TIF or
But
something.
Rhonda had asked, answer that question, because I think the MDA fund and local road streets was cut in the last budget round.
And I think Mrs. Gary may have some insight to where she think this might come from. I know it's a little bit more than she thought. The engineering piece of it, we're still not sure what that would look like, but I know we've talked, all of us have talked a little bit about where the 106,000 would come from, and then we knew there was going to be some engineering fees, so Mrs. Gary may have some input on that, to what
I
she
do.
thinks, so.
We didn't use, in the budget, we budgeted for West Jackson Street, $600,000 from local roads and streets, and we did not take out Mr. Cooper's, what he normally does for maintenance. We didn't, so he didn't use any the last 2 years, so we have a couple $100,000, if needed. we
That
could
helps
use
me a
from-
lot, because I was thinking we were gonna have to pull it from TIF or something.
No, we didn't, he
That's
hasn't done any.
helpful.
They're cool.
So. Yeah, I know.
Because actually, I think they've actually used your workers too, so he hasn't had the opportunity and didn't use the funds to use what we budget
I
in.
knew that West Jackson was
Right.
going over budget, and so I've really pulled back on.
His project,
Unfortunately, I
so.
pulled back on some other maintenance items to make sure that, we help support the West Jackson project.
So I still put that money in for placeholders in case he needed it for something, but he has not used it for $120,000 in the last 2 years in anticipation of West Jackson Street.
And then I think originally when the question was asked about the 300,000, that felt that 60,000 of it could come out of his budget, so.
Right.
So there's some,
There's some wiggle room in there.
yeah, so.
I don't have any more questions.
Everybody good?
So if the
Yeah.
council would like to move forward, I'll ask that question Tuesday evening. And I'd also, at that point, would ask the council to authorize President Cox to sign any NDOT agreements and the grant programs on behalf of the town, just so that we have that in the minutes. And then also, I have in front of you a letter of commitment for those matching funds, because that has to be submitted with the application. We do have on file the authorization for the president to sign the documents, but it's always good to potentially have that in the minutes as a fallback. If they would say, where was this authorized, and we can say it was discussed in the minutes, which is allowed in the application process.
All right, put it on the agenda for Tuesday, we'll get
Got
it
it.
done.
Certainly.
That's all I had, unless anyone had questions for me.
Nope.
I will say the striping for West Jackson Street will be done tomorrow. So you probably noticed all the signs, and we're still working on the sod, we're still working on the globes, and we're still working on the light. But as you saw, the railing finally got in. I think it turned out and looked really nice, so
Looks beautiful.
Looks very nice.
thank you.
So what happened to the lights on the west side? We just didn't make a connection, or?
The ones down between Pearl and Main.
Yeah.
So what happened on that is they needed to install some additional wiring and a couple of the fixtures. So they need to raise those poles up to work underneath of those. So their plan is when they come back to install the light pole by Broncos, they will have the lift and everything they need. And at that point, their intention was to go down and then they would fix that and light those up as well.
Okay, have we heard anything about
Great.
globes, or save that for Tuesday? Save that for Tuesday?
You'll have to save it for Tuesday because we keep asking, and I know that Keith keeps asking, Terry keeps asking, I keep asking, and we're not getting real good answers from the subcontractors.
Yep.
So we didn't hear on the painting until today because we reached out to them knowing there was a funeral tomorrow and we wanted to know their intentions so we could work around that. And we heard back from them today at 3:45, so not very forthcoming sometimes, but we'll continue to work on it.
All right. With that, Rhonda, we just need to make sure we hold back sufficient funds.
Agreed.
So, all right.
But I know there's not a contingency, I know that we hold back a percentage, I just don't know. I think those were like 30K or something.
I think you're right.
Okay, anything else for me? That's all I had.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
No, thank you.
Appreciate you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, moving along to water and wastewater. IDEM is requiring us to renew our permit on the plant. Terry, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, it's our, every 5 years, we have to renew our permit for the wastewater treatment plant, and that's the discharge of the North Reservoir. So what we've been discussing is we're almost come online with the new plant, which is going to be a totally new permit. Everything's going to change. And so I've been talking back and forth with IDEM, so they decided they want us to go ahead and renew the old permit, and then in April of next year, do a modification to that old permit. So basically, we're asking Joe, as he is the one through IDEM as board president, to sign the permit application to present to IDEM.
And Keith would like us to get that done tonight instead of Tuesday, if you guys don't have any issue with it.
I'm good.
You good with it? Okay, Emily, Dennis, you good?
I'm good.
Eric?
Sign away.
All right. Done. All right, thank you, Terry. I just sent that to Keith, so it's done. Moving right along. Rhonda, you want to tell us about your conference?
November 4th, 5th, and 6th. Actually, it's virtual, but I go away because Jimmy and Terry won't stay in my office and let me.
So, will you be here for the meeting or no?
4th, I'll be here, but actually, we're closed.
Meeting's
It's
on the
election
5th.
day. And I'll be here, but yes, I'll be here.
Okay, everybody, meeting's on the 5th in November, just so you know, because of Election Day on the 4th. Technically, we're closed. Are you guys all off work that day?
Yes.
Dang.
We never know if there's going to be a referendum, so we don't know until
Right.
time of. So when I do the schedule, we just give it to them all.
I like it. I like it. All right, moving right along.
Congratulations on the A+ rating.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that was so
Yes.
Very
cool.
good.
That
So,
Mr. Strong.
To you, to previous clerk treasurers, it's, and
That was exciting.
And
certainly
department
was.
heads,
So
yeah.
thank you so
Is
much.
that the first time we've been an A+, or we,
don't know that we've ever been rated.
I've never been part of a rating, but I'm glad it's over, and good job, Mr. Strong. We worked hard on that together.
Yep, good job, you guys.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
fantastic. Good job, guys.
Most of the legwork, as always, and she did a great job with all the documentation and all the financial information. She put a lot of time in there. She did. Mr. Lutz would be proud of her story.
Nice work.
I wear that proudly.
Yeah. All right, thank you all very much.
You're welcome.
Moving along, Mr. Hunter, grant writer.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the last meeting. I did meet with her, and I may have sent it on email, I don't even remember. Yeah, I was impressed. I mean, she seemed like she knew what she was doing. I think it'd be worthwhile for us to give it a shot and see if we can get some results by working with her. I think she proposed, did she give us a formal proposal?
Yes,
And it's for a year?
yes.
And how much?
She's vague on the monthly number until she gets the study done.
Oh, that's right, yeah. How much does she want for the study?
2,000.
Yeah. So I would recommend we have her do her study, and then assuming she has some good prospects, we would move forward with getting an engagement together with her.
I'm good.
That's my thought. And we would pay the 2,000, I mean, I think we could pay it out of the council's budget.
I agree. I think it's important.
I mean, at this point, we probably have money left in EDC budget, and that's kind of economic development.
Yeah.
So you could pull it from there.
I will do that.
So sorry I held that up because I missed the last meeting, so I apologize
all
for
right.
that. But, yeah, I think we should.
Do we need to take a formal vote on it Tuesday, or can we just give them the go-ahead now based on consensus?
Yeah, that's fine, yes.
Thank you.
I think you've got your consensus, so go for it.
Jimmy, I don't remember a month or so before she'll have her analysis done.
I believe so. I'll get-
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll get an updated time
Yeah.
frame from her.
Great.
She has a vacation schedule and things in there, but she's still been communicating on a weekly basis and sending us stuff, so I think some of the opportunities she's already forwarded that we won't be eligible for because of low income stuff and things like that, but she's constantly sending us stuff. Thank you.
And just
Thank you.
for clarification, I'll confirm that with Mr. Culp. Anytime there's funds spent, there should be a motion and a second. So if it needs to be, I'll put it on the agenda and we'll
Can you
formally.
wait until Tuesday? Nick, can wait until Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Perfect,
Just formality.
yeah.
You're good. All right, the next three items, the final three items, hold on, does anybody have anything not fire-related?
Yes. So, since Superintendent Hunter got up and asked about the grant writing, so would just like the council to be aware that he and his team, if you noticed, we were having a lot of areas to the windows here at Town Hall. So they came in and did some caulking and glazing, but in the process, if you notice the outside windows have all been painted black. And a lot of nights would look to tie in with the railing and things within town. So we did have somebody come in and had to paint the peaks and everything, but everything outside's been painted. They did a nice job of glazing and repairing the windows, and the company that came in did the peaks, and then they did one window high. But just wanted to make sure, and if you notice the black glazing and painted black, both looks really nice.
It does look really nice. Nice work on that. I noticed we can see out the windows when I was coming in again, so that's nice.
But I wanted to thank him for that. And
Yeah.
Mr. Cooper for his work along the sidewalk here in the town parking lot, and getting that trip hazard out of the way and making that nicer. And they have plans to install some of the curbs there so people aren't driving across the sidewalk. So, a little more work to do there, but I wanted to recognize them for the work they can do.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing that. Gentlemen, thank you
Yes.
very much.
And it smells so much better.
Thank you, guys. All right, if there's nothing else that's not fire-related, Frank, you're welcome to leave. Terry, you're welcome to leave. Jimmy, you're welcome to leave. Harrison, you're just hanging out anyway. Stick around.
Rhonda, you're welcome to leave.
Yeah, Rhonda, sorry, you're here, Rhonda.
I want to say one thing when we
See you
start the
guys.
fire discussion. It's not about.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
All right, Jacob.
I don't think I've said this publicly. Again, I missed the last meeting. Dennis and I did fire ops 2 weeks ago, I think.
Tissue, nice.
It was awesome, and we learned a lot. Very informative, really good experience. I just wanted to thank. We had 3 guys from our crew out there. Obviously, there were folks from all over Hamilton County out there that day. I mean, we started at 7 something and wrapped up at 1 something. So, it was a lot of time, and we had 3 guys that were there. Jeremy Henshaw, Andrew Bowles, and then Christian was there. That's all correct, right? Yeah, so I just wanted to publicly thank those guys for spending time out there and help helping be part of the crew that hosted us and gave us that experience, so thank you.
It was a pretty cool experience. Had a long conversation with Renee Butts about that the other day.
It's a real eye opener.
Had a
It
very
really
good
is.
time.
I enjoyed it. Jaws of Life are freaking heavy, aren't they?
God,
I
they
mean,
are,
like
yes.
impressively heavy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So was that hose, full of water?
oh, carrying
my
up the
God.
stairs, yeah. So we do empathize with what you guys do. All right, new ambulance discussion. Eric, this is your show.
It's my show.
It's your show, man. You led the charge on this one.
Yeah,
so.
all I do is ask a question. We have an ambulance on order for $450,000. It's coming out of a non-reverting fund, which currently is not set up to pay for manpower. With these additions of manpower, I think it's worthwhile that we discuss any and all options on the table. And we currently have a main ambulance and a backup ambulance. Do we continue with this ambulance? Do we stop the ambulance and use those funds for covering the manpower gap?
I thought you just said it couldn't be used.
We'd have to change
We'd
the,
have to change the ordinance, but that can be done easily. Yeah.
I agree that it's something we need to talk about. That's my opinion.
I would hate the thought of canceling it. Chief, how old are our ambulances and what's the expected life expectancy for an ambulance?
The oldest one is a 2012 Chevrolet chassis. That's the one that got wrecked several years ago. And our newest truck is a 2018 one. 17? Okay, 17, I thought it was 18.
What's the life expectancy on those usually?
7 to 10 years.
But the 2017 has the upgraded F450 chassis that you can just repair that, correct? There's different repairs that can be made to that one versus the
Thank you.
Chevy chassis, correct?
Yeah, the maintenance costs are a little bit cheaper on the Ford because it's a truck chassis and they don't have to lift the cab and do all kinds of work to get it together.
Lance, can you run through the details of what it would cost to cancel? I know you sent an email on this, I just can't remember off the top of my head.
It's a percentage of where it's at in the build process, and I don't have a number. I'd have to call Tony. I was waiting for this discussion
Sure.
to see what you guys wanted to do.
So there were a couple of things at that time, which was, let's call it 2 weeks ago, it was $2,500 to cancel. However, did you say Carmel or Westfield was willing to let the bill?
Carmel is interested, and Noblesville is interested.
So if they take it with no cost to us?
Correct.
If we play, sorry, Joe, are we just open discussion here?
Mhm.
If we ordered an ambulance today, what's the lead time?
3 years.
At a higher clip, I'm sure.
Of
So that's
course.
the other question. We knew when we signed for this ambulance, it was $450 plus any chassis adjustments. You had thrown $550 out there. Is that what we believe this cost is gonna?
No, from what I spoke to Tony, the sales rep, it's 450.
Okay, and if we were to order one now, it would be in the $550 range?
Correct.
I got it. Thank you.
And when will it be in?
Due date is sometime late April, early May. Time frame is right now. They're in the process of specing parts and getting those in for the build.
Chris, you have anything to say on this?
I know that we've talked about living development suppliers over the years trying to buy trucks. Trucks just go so quickly. I mean, every year your weight's gonna go up, obviously, we're talking about 450, 550. The biggest issue is that something would happen to that truck.
I do agree with that, and I'm actually not personally in favor of canceling it. I'm a firm believer in progressive infrastructure, and this falls right in that, just kicking the can down the road, which we've all learned that lesson in the last 2 years with wastewater and fire trucks and everything, so.
I'd say the fire truck was a win.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it worked out. So, I'm with Chris, though. I don't think it's a discussion or a decision that needs to be made tonight.
I'm opposed to canceling it, so I think we should wait to see what kind of shape we're in next year. And I agree, part of the reason we're in the mess we are in is from kicking the can down the road prior councils.
I don't understand that comment, but,
Well,
Not ordering fire
if you want
trucks.
to understand the comment, look at the wastewater treatment plant. How long was that put off? And it went from $7 million to $21 million over a course of years when it should have been done years beforehand. So we're just using that as an example, but
so there were millions of dollars and, I mean, there were millions of dollars spent trying to make those improvements. So, we'll agree to disagree. I mean,
okay.
that's,
We can do that.
those other councils have left us in pretty good financial shape to do other types of projects, so.
Sure.
So they've been very frugal, and that's my take.
All right, what's your take on this specific topic, though?
I'm okay, I'm okay holding on to it. I think we could, to the end. I don't know how we're gonna cover the $1 million. And we're already $9,000 negative of our 2025 overtime budget. I don't know, where's that money coming from?
Sure. I don't disagree.
So-
I think where we're at tonight is, do we need to make the decision now, or do we just need to revisit it closer to time? Because it's really not going to make a difference.
So maybe what we do is maybe we have Aaron amend the ordinance now, so that if we decide to cancel it, that work is done.
I mean, how long does it take to amend an ordinance?
Is it 2 meetings or just one? I think because it's monetary, it might be 2.
Yeah, I think unless you would allow you to amend procedures. but
Yeah.
it's two, so.
So what would amending the ordinance actually look like, though? What would it be doing?
Those funds can not only be used for what's there today, but can also be used for manpower.
Oh, you're talking about that portion. Okay. Gotcha. I don't have any problem with that. Like I said, I'm not in favor of canceling it.
I assume, Chief, you would not like to see that ordinance amended. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Personal opinion, no, but looking at what we're facing right now, yes, but I caution the council
Right.
not to look at the whole amount because we still have to operate an ambulance.
Right.
We still have to buy fuel, we still have to buy
Right.
supplies. You know,
Educate us on what the ordinance says you can spend the money on today.
you can spend it on capital improvement items, i.e. ambulances, cardiac monitors, card equipment. You can spend it for supplies to operate the ambulance service. You can spend it for fire prevention items, like fire extinguishers, things like that. But that section of the account is dollar in, dollar out type deal. So we don't charge upcharges for the fire extinguishers. So that's kind of a flat fee, but we use the account to pay for that stuff and then the money comes back into it. Basically, it was everything but manpower.
Why did you say fuel? That can come out of that fund or
Yes,
cannot?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, we buy ambulance fuel out of that.
How much is in that fund right now?
356,000 as of October 1st.
The non-reverting? Ambulance, 359,000.
And it makes approximately 150K a year?
No, it brings in, well,
To revenue to date is 121,000.
yeah, but there's also about $120,000 of expense that comes out of that too.
I know we just went through this exercise, but not knowing what we know now, when we looked at the ambulance fee schedule, should we revisit that again?
Absolutely, we should. It's been
Okay.
2 years.
Has it been that long already?
Yes.
Okay.
Thought we just did it.
It does feel like we just did it.
So revenue to year to date is 120K?
Yes, and the expenditure is 115.
So we usually don't get into the black until October 1 in a typical year.
And the 150 of revenue, is that what you said?
20.
120 of revenue comes from what source?
You're billing, right?
And you're saying if we could review those rates and possibly increase them?
Yeah, because we tried to keep it
Yeah.
pretty modest last time, and now it's kind of no holds barred, so we gotta take a look at all
Yeah,
options.
we need to do that.
I mean, constituents are paying taxes already. Those taxes go to this. There's now going to be potentially a safety lit tax, so you're gonna pay more to safety, right? At what point's enough?
But does their insurance not cover the fee we charge?
The majority of it is insurance paid. You know, when we look at our payer mix, there's private insurance, there's Medicare, there's
Right,
Medicaid,
right.
and then there's self-pays. And right now, we're about 50% Medicare,
Mm-hmm.
20%, 25% Medicare, or excuse me, private, and then Medicaid and private pay comes into play on that.
So Medicare is a set, it doesn't matter what we. it doesn't
Right,
matter
yeah,
what we
right,
say.
yeah, right.
So you're penalizing everybody else.
No, because there's another 30% that are private insurance?
There's a mix in there.
Ballpark.
Ballpark, 25 to 30, probably.
So those people, it doesn't hurt them at all.
I don't know, I don't know if I
Well-
agree with that. You have deductibles and
Correct,
everything else.
correct,
right?
correct. Fair enough. I suggest we revisit it. I agree with your point, though. Like, if to some people, it would feel like you're paying for it multiple times. I agree with that.
I think we need to revisit it.
Yeah,
So one thing we did had the same conversation a couple of years ago about this. The idea was to look at your different insurance mix, private, Medicaid, Medicare, and then set it at the one that, like, private is the highest paying one, I think, typically.
Correct, yeah.
Set it at what you know private will pay. But then you make stipulations in your ordinance for people who can't afford it.
well, that's what your doctor does, right? If you go to your doctor, there's one price for insurance and there's one price for self-pay, right?
You want to max out your private care because your insurance pays that, you don't have, that doesn't affect you negatively. The idea is always you max, or put your number at what private insurance will pay, and then make accommodations for other people, so it doesn't negatively affect you.
And we have those policies in place today.
I thought that's the numbers we were at, isn't it?
We have those.
All right, sorry. I took us down a rabbit hole. I apologize.
Yeah, not at all.
I would, my comment back to the agenda item would be, I'm fine if we wait. I'm personally willing to bring the ambulance issue back up, early next year, if and when it becomes necessary to discuss that again. And then I'm fine either way if there's a desire to amend the ordinance about the fund now, so we have that flexibility. I'm fine with that, or if we want to wait, I'd be fine with that too. That's where I stand.
I prefer to have him work on it now and
It creates the flexibility, but it still comes back to the council to make those decisions, correct?
correct.
Fine with that.
Dennis, you have any thoughts?
And keep in mind, we do have resident and non-resident fee schedules for ambulance.
I'm okay with that, with holding off.
What about amending the ordinance?
I'm okay amending it, but the only question that I was asking myself was, I'm gonna withdraw my comment. I'm okay with amending it so that we're ready. So if a choice is made, but I too agree that we should not do it yet.
Emily, amend the ordinance?
Go ahead and amend it, but I think we need to hold off too and think seriously before we do anything. But if we do need to, then it'll be there ready to go.
So Rhonda or Dan, will you guys get with Aaron and have
I
them
will.
amend that ordinance, please? Thank you.
Mm.
Have it ready today? No, it doesn't have to do it
He won't
this
have
week.
it, he won't have it ready.
All right, we good on the ambulance discussion? All right, moving along to the fire territory discussion. Jacob, Eric.
Okay, let me do that.
You can start.
So, again, similar to the ambulance discussion, any and all options with how to make these costs manageable and meet ISO standards are on the table. And I think we're committed to working to meet these ISO standards for all of our constituents. So one of those options, or I guess I'm gonna take a step back, Jacob and I sat down with the township and the township fire chief, and just had discussions, just general discussions, of what options. I mean, we are a community together and we are both facing the same issues. So there were items talked about, and one of those items was fire territory. And the way that the fire territory funding is in place is it takes the assessed value of the area and it's 0.4% of that assessed value becomes the fire territory budget. So if you look at Jackson Township, they're at roughly 1.4 million. Cicero's roughly at 2.1 million currently. So if you look at assessed value, and that 0.4%, that takes you to roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of $4.1, $4.2 million. So that would give you roughly $700,000 more net together. There are still questions. I mean, this is just an initial discussion, so just wanted to get on the table for the council to see if there is any desire to continue to look forward. We would need to find out from ISO if this truly does meet their guidance being under one umbrella and being able to have 2 or 3 people on each truck and making it to a scene to meet that 4-person standard or requirement. But in general, just want to see if there is any interest from the council to continue investigating this. And Jacob, do you
Yeah,
have to
my
ask?
quick history is, I was invited to a meeting, with Eric and the trustee was there. What's the other woman? Is she the deputy trustee or?
Cool.
And then the fire chief, so there were 3, anyway. And most of the discussion was around fire territory, and then there was a follow-up meeting. And I think I'm in the same boat as Eric. I think we have to understand all of our options, and that's the way I went into these meetings, just trying to learn and hear what they had to say and ask questions and have dialogue. And so, I think I would continue to share the opinion that we need to continue to learn about all options, and this is certainly an option. I don't even know if I have an opinion on if it's a good option or a bad option. And so I would agree with Eric that before anybody spends any more time talking about it, it makes sense for the council to determine if it has an opinion on if it's worth having conversations about.
My opinion is we haven't tried it. They tried it in the past, it didn't work. There's too many strong personalities involved a lot of times making those decisions. Excuse me. I don't think ISO's telling us now they want 4 people on a truck. I honestly, there is no way in heck they're gonna let us have 2 people on our truck and 2 people on their truck. And if we do that, what if there's a fire here and then a fire there? What are we gonna do? Go 2 and 2? I like the idea of exploring options, but I would more rather explore the option of a fire district, but then the county would control that.
So I don't know about our district, so what's the district do that the territory does? I'm just trying to learn.
I've just had very brief conversations on this with someone that has been involved in this, and they said the big difference is the district would be run by the county, and the county would, I think, say who's in charge of what and who has a seat at the table. So if it's all of our areas, maybe they would get representatives from all of the areas. But if you want to explore a territory, you might want to explore a district as well.
There was discussion about a district, but for some reason, the district still.
Are both, can you still do a district? Do they both still exist?
Very good question. Instead of the one, make it so great, it's hard to really give you an answer. I was gonna tell you guys, so, November 5th at IMMI, we went to an event there. I went to Courtsville not far from
Pretty recently, right? That territory or no?
It's been up and running for a couple years.
Couple years?
2 years. So they've kind of gone through the pitfalls of it, they understand this, but what's going on is the Indiana Township Association on November 5th at IMMI, they're going to be doing a big presentation about all things fire territories, fire district. I was going to let you guys know about this, but it's a free event. They're doing it at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on November 5th. And they're doing a complete, exhaustive process of what this would actually look like, who's it good for, who's it not good for. The biggest question they're running into, the ITA, is that they all feel the pressure of townships are going to do something, whether they're going to merge, whether they're going to be cut, whether they're going to try to throw it into the county. There's so many competing interests right now about what to do, and it's kind of paused right now. I think it did make it through this legislative session, but it's always on the agenda, and it's a big push for the state. So this is something they're putting together. Debbie Driscoll and Drew Durham, the president, vice president of the organization, they're getting this put together, and they're going to have a bunch of different speakers from different places to talk about all things the question you're asking. I would recommend it's probably a good idea for.
Can you get your hands on the agenda and share it?
I will try to get it from her, absolutely. And, but Indiana Township Association front page, if you pull up, like scroll down one little scroll, it'll give you, upcoming ITA events. It's ITA Public Safety Day, strengthening township fire. They're kind of from a township approach. From my talk with Courtsville, the fire territory takes about a year and a half, 2 years to set up if you want to do it. Get through the process, because they can tell you all the problems you have and all the things that you do to set up, but it has to be centered around a governmental institution or a organization. So like here, that need to be through Cicero, Jackson Township, White River Township, Arcadia, etc. There has to be a governmental unit that is actually sponsored, for lack of a better term. Yeah, they're the provider. Providing unit. So all of the benefits that come from that are paid from the budget that they roll through. So like if Cicero became the sponsor providing unit, then all of the employees would be getting their benefits through the town of Cicero or vice versa. So I think the biggest concern is even talking to the Courtsville, Vernon Township trustee that she said, there's so much concern about what the state's going to do that it could be anywhere from leaving it like it is to pulling the plug on townships, and they just don't know what's coming. So they're trying to figure that out. This would be a really good learning tool, I think, to answer most of the questions that are being asked. It gives a better path going forward of what's actually being out there. And these are actually going to be departments and people, trustees who have actually already gone down this path and worked their plan. Like, so Fortville, Courtsville, and Vernon Township, combined into a single unit partnership program. They decided to do theirs through Vernon Township. That's how they do it there. But they have concerns about going forward, what that look like if the state holds floods on there, on the townships. So, anybody can go to this is probably a good idea.
I found the agenda, Chris. I'm gonna send it to everybody.
Okay.
Say anything about a live stream. I'll be out of town for at least a portion of that day.
I don't think so.
No, okay.
Thank you.
If we can get some attendance there, that'd be great.
So then, is the consensus on a territory willing to have further discussions and act fund?
I'm in favor of due diligence, always. I mean, it's a big decision, so I think we need to have all the facts. I won't commit to going down that path at this point.
Yeah, I think that's the question is like, are we wasting our time learning and having conversations or not, right? That's the question, Eric?
Yeah. I don't want to waste my time.
I don't either.
What's Fire's opinion on a territory or a district?
I can tell you, when we looked at it 5 years ago, we had already gotten to the point of, chose the provider unit, we were ready to sign on the dotted line and start moving forward. And the plug got pulled at that point. If you're going into it thinking that you're gonna save a bunch of money with a territory, that's not the idea of a territory. It's to fix the problems we all have today so that we don't continue to have those same problems.
It has its own funding mechanism.
It has its own funding mechanism.
So that takes it out of our hands, other than the debt that you already owe on your fire.
So essentially has its own tax rate.
Correct,
Okay.
which is up to point
Yeah, the
four.
territory becomes its own taxing entity.
And it has its own board,
It
for
has
lack
its
of a
own
better
board,
word.
yes.
0.4% of the assessed value.
And Chris has got copies of all the paperwork from the previous discussions and financial studies we had done when we were talking about territory. So he's got all that data reviewed.
So if we would choose to go that route, that year and a half, we'd still have to commit to doing what we told ISO we were gonna do and have 4 people on our truck, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay. This may not be a fair question, you don't have to answer it. You were here when that discussion happened?
Yes, sir.
Why did they back away from it in your assessment?
They didn't like the budget. And I discussed it with Eric when he and I were, or he was our liaison. You know, the budget we looked at was a 3-year step budget, and it ended up about $6 million. But what that did was put firefighters on every truck, people on the ambulance. Everything was staffed the way it's supposed to be staffed.
Yeah, at that time, it didn't have that 0.4%. Was that still the same?
It used to be
funding
higher,
mechanism?
right?
Yeah, you set your own.
Okay.
That's one of the changes in SB 1.
Okay.
Yeah, so we always use the example of Brownsburg Fire Territory. When they were one of the first ones that did it, and their tax rate was, it was about 10%, 12%. It was crazy how much money they were raising. So that's why they started bringing that number in, especially in SB 1, so that people weren't just going out and forming it and saying, okay, now you gotta give us millions of dollars. So we could build, you know, brick stations and make everything look good.
Yeah, so a couple questions I have about it are, from an ISO standpoint, does it meet those guidelines? Because you're under one umbrella. So that's an open question. And then if there is this safety lit tax that's gonna be done, what happens to those funds? From the county, the county safety lit,
There's,
if that goes,
I believe there's a formula in the bill that says where those dollars go.
Yeah.
but
The territory would still be eligible.
Oh, that was your question, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, a territory would still be eligible for those dollars.
so that would be on top of that 0.4%. And those are the questions that I have initially. I mean, there's more, who becomes the providing entity, what's the board makeup? Just,
Who's involved?
yeah. So I don't remember, Dan, maybe you remember when I was on previous, Mr. Cook was on, I mean, there was a big meeting at the school. I think it was for a territory, somewhere between 8 to 12 years ago, probably. And large personalities, I think, got in the way then.
Yeah, that's where they originally formed it with, Atlanta and the township.
Well, Cicero was in those early discussions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It was about 2012,
that was personalities, I think, differences. We're in a different time. I mean, to me personally, any option for our entire community in Jackson Township. That's the same problem Cicero has. I represent Cicero, but we're all facing the same thing. And how do we effectively move through this?
One of the other things I'll throw out there is, unless they've changed it in SB 1, I don't think they did, is if you form a fire territory, you're entitled to some of the TIF money that the fire territory encompasses.
I think that might be right, yeah.
I want to say it was 5 to 15% was the number range. And the folks that did our original financial study for the territory told us they were pushing that through at the time. And that did get put in.
Sounds familiar.
So would you recommend exploring again a fire territory?
Sure, I wouldn't be against it. I think Chris is the better one to ask that question to.
Well, he was next. I wanted to give a pause.
No, I'm not against it. I think that there's always options. I think it's good to look at options. Like you said, it's options. This area is kind of becoming, like you said, it's kind of an area. It's kind of, everybody kind of like feeds off each other. It seems to be, I've seen in Jackson Township. The town council kind of controls all the road, the township. It's kind of like, it's not you, but it kind of operates out of it a little bit. So the idea of the fire territory, maybe allow the one thing I would say is just understand that the fire territory, talking about that, isn't fixing this problem. That's the issue that I see, is that that's a, year and a half to 2 year process to get that done. Put it all together, get all the parts in it, and you start talking about Jackson Township, parts of River Township, the Cicero grows, if it grows in, I'm just spitballing, if it grows that way. If it grows that way, and get into some of that township work, anything like that have in the future. What they, from talking to Flores, or Florence is the trustee over there, town council president, and they've had good success with what they did, but they said that the biggest thing is just get with somebody like them if you really start exploring this, because they can give you all the explain to you all the bad things that happen, then they'll process the whole thing without correct. Just that, then once they get all that figured out, they start talking to other territories, including the information you need, and decide whether or not it's functional for the area that you're trying to move into. The biggest thing is, the biggest thing they warned me about, they said, because I asked this question, I said, hey, will ISO come in and review your territory and tell you your ISO ratings? She said, no, they would not do anything for us until we did it, then maintain the assessments. And she said that then what they dealt with is they had a junk ISO,
Thank you.
Thanks for the information. I am going to register for it because some of the topics are the pros and cons of territories and districts, and I want to learn more.
Be nice to you to report that back to us.
I'd be glad to.
Yes.
So in regards to the territory, I think we're all in agreement the due diligence, to continue to do the due diligence is the next step in that due diligence, the attendance of this meeting, or does something need to happen prior?
I mean, I don't know that we're on a fast timetable here.
Right.
So we'll reach back out to Jackson. They were gonna find out from ISO a few questions that we had, at least have discussions with them. I mean, if their station and our station don't meet requirements, I'm not sure it's a viable option.
Right.
So that, in my mind, really, that's the first thing we have to find out.
I agree. 2 10s don't make a 4 or a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, but as an example, a town south of us sends 2 or 3 people out on a fire truck. They just happen to have more stations and send more fire trucks, and it works under one umbrella. So there's something there that works. Now, what those distances are between those stations, I can't tell you that. So something about being under a common umbrella, and I think that actually came up in our discussions that I was on with ISO. Seems like maybe it did. Maybe I got it somewhere else.
Well, we were talking road mileage and mutual aid, I think is the discussion we were referencing.
Okay.
Are there independent consultant agencies that handle this kind of stuff?
There are, and that's what I'm Googling right now. I don't know if they're good, but there are.
Right.
I know there's one attorney, I don't have his name right now, but he's supposed to be really good and specialize in all this stuff.
Of course, they'll refer me to, they said, the financial side of it is, they said the person they've had that gets used most is Mark Reuter, R-E-U-T-E-R. He's in Carmel. I don't know if you guys know this. They said he's very good, he's very knowledgeable on this. They said that's what they used to put theirs together once they got to the truck. They were tired of kind of fighting against themselves to figure it out. They got hooked up with them, and he was really good about helping with the forecasting and all the process of what they were doing.
I think the group we used last time was FSG.
Yeah, FSG Corp.
Yeah.
Okay, so the consensus that I'm hearing is we'll continue to do due diligence and get questions answered, essentially.
Okay.
Is that, everybody good with that?
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the ISO discussion. Chris, did you put some kind of presentation together, or
What we were about putting together was about hiring.
it was about hiring?
Hiring and different little changes we had to figure out with the lab process and things like that.
Yep, we do need to have that discussion.
What was there anything, was it specific about ISO?
Well, ISO's on the agenda as far as the discussion goes.
So I put it on there. So there was concern about portions being shut down due to manpower, and that was not the outcome that I took. And I had sent an email to Chief stating otherwise, and you guys were on copy. And I asked each of you to respond back with him that was your understanding as well, that all apparatus would stay in service. So I believe that is still a consensus as we go through this plan to hire, bring on staff, still trying to man the correct number of staffing per shift. So that's what that was on there for. I think the lands we're good now, or we're not good.
Yep, I passed along the information to Darren, and Darren's taking care of the scheduling, that's why I wanted to get here this evening.
Okay.
Answer some questions that you guys had. But we're
So work as,
No, we have not been able to keep staffing at 6.
no, I understand that, but you're working as previous to this, why we try to bring heads in. Okay,
Yes.
all right. And I just wanted you guys, so that was my direction, and I spoke to you guys as well, and I mean, I'm only 20%. I don't want to be the person that's driving the complete ship. A consensus needs to be an agreement that that's what we're telling them to do as we work through this plan.
I mean, obviously I supported it.
Okay,
Contacted Lance there. I understand the situation we're in, but I also think it's very important on two fronts. A, we maintain the level of safety and service from the ambulance. And we don't put undue pressure on our surrounding communities as far as picking up our slack. And B, is these guys can only work so much before they burn out. I mean,
absolutely agree. So I hope we are looking, I'm sure you are, any and all possibilities for bringing manpower in, right? I mean, I know you guys are doing all that you can, so.
On that front, do we have jobs posted? Do we have applicants? What's happening there?
Derek, you want to answer that?
We have posted it. As of this afternoon, I had 5 applicants that would be interested in a lateral hire, which is what we're looking at initially. And then I've probably got another 20 applicants of people who have 0 experience, and we would be starting out from day 1 to train them, with everything they need to get them up to speed to release them to be able to respond. We have interviews set up next week, next Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow is the deadline for career applications for the lateral hire. So after tomorrow, I'll know exactly how many people we're going to interview next week and make a recommendation to the chief, and then the chiefs will go through their interview process.
Is your plan to have a mix of new and laterals, or what?
Right now, we're just looking at laterals.
And the reason is we don't have the time to send these folks off.
I was going to ask that question. How long is that timeline once you hire them?
For a lateral or for?
No, for a new hire.
A new hire, depends on when somebody's running an academy.
Okay.
So it may be 6 months, it may be a year.
Okay.
And the academy lasts how long?
6 months.
Usually about 6 months.
Okay.
so
I didn't
bottom
mean to cut
line,
you off. I was just going to ask that
No,
question. So.
And, the other part of the folks coming in with no experience is there's merit law that says we have to do certain things. We have to hold an official process. Whereas laterals, we don't have to go through all those hoops. When we look at merit rules and we're bringing in people with no experience, you have to have a written exam. You have to have either a CPAT or a physical agility. The CPAT is a standard exam that they can go take on their own. Then you have to do background checks. I mean, there's all these things. You have to go through the curve stuff to get them in. So that hiring process can take months just itself. Then you start weeding out the candidates and all that. So if you do a lateral, you can bring them straight in. They're already in perf, and we can have to hit the ground running.
so what we do, my understanding is what we need to look at situationally with the laterals is compensation package, because they are coming in with tenure.
Yeah, and Chris has got some information on that he wanted to share.
Yep, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so the biggest thing people ask when they come in and they start asking questions, they're gonna ask, where's the pay scale that I fall into, what's benefits? That's the 2 things. The only 2 things we really have, I think, to talk about, the only 2 things we really have to talk about are, what's fair to the firefighters who are here, and how do we actually put together a package that will draw people in. That's the 2 things, because we've had a lot of people, are interested, but they want to know what's the pay scale we're going to fall into. So, talking with the union, talking with the chief, talking with everybody at the department, everybody feels pretty comfortable with this. That it would be a 1-to-1. They'd get 1 year service for 1 year, up to 5 years. They wouldn't be able to come in with, we're not bringing people in with 18 years and giving them, full pay. 1-to-1, up to 5 years with commiserate benefits is really the only thing that it is. So it'd be to come in with pay and vacation and I don't know, what else other benefits would there be? that we would deal, like as from an HR point of view.
77 per.
They're already in the 77 plan, so that's already done. That's what speeds up hiring. They're already in the 77 plan. They've gone through the physical. Already been approved.
Insurance, we paid degrees, certifications,
Yeah.
insurance, vacation, sick days. That's about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the council is okay with a 1-to-1 ratio of benefits and pay up to 5 years, that would be the max. So if we hired a 10-year person, they would come in as a 5-year employee. Everybody else would come in with 1 year for 1 year up to that point. It's not a, it's pretty good for the way our schedule works. It works well. The biggest, with what I found, even from hiring the 30-some people I hired at Kokomo as chief, the biggest question they asked me is time off. This generation wants time off. And the reason they want it also is because they're going to be, and the people who have talked to me and reached out to me about this said, listen, the expectation is we are going to need you to work overtime. There's going to be shifts to fill because we're going to be at 12 people filling, 18 spots. So there is going to be overtime. So that's the understanding is, you're going to be expected to work a lot. And these people are like, yeah, that's great. I'm okay with that. But there's also, I still need to be able to take some time off with my family and do that stuff. So there's going to be a big demand on them to work. So they just are asking, most of them are asking that question of benefits. So that's the only thing. I think those two things suffice, and then everything else I think is already spelled out.
And I think, personally, I think that's fair. At this point in my career, I'm not walking in and taking any job as a new hire, with new hire benefits, so.
Do you need us to do something?
Just to be okay with it. I mean, that's the biggest holdup is we haven't really, because we need to make sure everybody's okay with that we're offering. I don't want to have a process where we offer people and then like, oh, by the way, we were wrong. You're starting off with 0.
But that plan keeps it equitable with current staff, right?
Yes, yeah, everybody seems okay with that, correct?
The current merit law is 1-1-5 from lateral, so everybody's already agreed.
Everybody's already
This
agreed
is
to
pretty
it.
much the standard. What's
Okay.
happening.
I mean, I personally, I don't see an option here. I mean,
Oh, it makes total
that's
sense
my
to me.
take.
And we want
I
to
agree.
get quality. That's the thing.
Right.
We want to be able to attract, because like I said, we are at a pay scale where we can still pull from the north and the surrounding areas. We're not pulling from the south because of pay, but we need to be able to just at least put a package together that brings people in.
Sure.
So that's the only part of that.
How are you, the two of you, kind of handling the interviews and stuff? You two,
As far as,
you and Chris.
We're
Yeah,
together.
yeah, we're gonna do it together. but
perfect.
Garrett's got a board put together of the firefighters to do the initial interviews, and then they'll make recommendations up to us, and we'll sit down with you again.
Perfect. And can you guys recommend me, because I know we debated this when we had our marathon meeting. If you had 4 laterals so far?
5.
5. If all 5 of them are, yes, let's hire them, did we authorize you to do that, or did we force you to stagger them? I don't remember.
No, we've done 3 this year.
3 this year. It was like October, November, December is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
However that works out.
Yeah, and then the fourth one was gonna be Steve's position.
Which will be the first of the year.
Yeah,
Right.
we're gonna do that in the first of the year.
Yeah.
Great.
And that'll probably be lateral also. The goal is to do all 4 of those as laterals because we can roll them right in and not have any gaps of missing.
Yeah, and
missing
then we can
people.
report that to ISO in our January meeting, that we've got the heads in, that we're now following the compliance process.
Yeah, it'll help a lot.
Yeah.
One of the things I would recommend, and I haven't talked to Chris about this, I don't think, is if we get good candidates, we can give them a conditional offer of employment with a start date of when we say. So it could be, yeah, we want to hire you, but your start date's going to be in October, yours is going to be in November, yours is going to be in December.
So we can follow the staggered
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
And not lose them.
Right.
Well, I would say if that becomes problematic, you just have to tell us.
Yeah, just communicate, please.
Because we don't want to lose
We
good
don't wanna lose.
candidates.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, my only thought is, and if there's 4 out there, do you bring in a new person as well? I mean, you have to look at not qualifications for new people, but is it good to have a little bit of,
Again, we don't have the process
We
in
don't have the
place,
time.
and that's going to cost money,
So
a substantial amount of money.
in my eyes, we could look at that for the 5th person, but up until the 4th person, we're really kind of,
We've done laterals for years.
no, I understand, and I'm talking about from our timeline that we have in front of us with needing to get those 3 in and get Steve replaced, our only option is to go lateral for the first 4, and then we can start looking at new beyond that, correct?
We
theoretically.
Again, we have to put a process in place.
Sure. Say again.
Yeah. As much as we can do in laterals, we're better off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through an academy, before they actually hit the full requirements.
I mean, I equate it to Jeff when he hires a new police officer, fresh off the street, you know, he has to send them to the academy, he has to pay them, they get their benefits, all kinds of stuff. We would be in the same boat,
Correct.
so.
I was only responding to his comment about number 4. Steve,
Gotcha.
Good.
everybody good with what we laid out?
Yeah.
I'd like to move up the process if we can of hiring, just if we can, because that will cut down on the overtime and the stress. Just if you have good candidates.
I guess that'll be dependent on our candidate pool.
We can report
And we
back.
can
report
revisit
back
it.
after the hiring process,
That'd be good.
what we find, what we see. You know, if we see, we have 3, 4, 5 good candidates, we can make a decision based on that, I would say.
Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Do you have anything else?
One last thing, so one thing that I'm seeing coming in here is because the entire fire department right now are paramedics, we're changing to EMTs also. We don't have a stipend that's necessarily, everybody's paid at the same rate. So like EMTs and medics, we only have firefighter, paramedic, full-time position, we don't have that. So there needs to be some sort of discussion about what a paramedic stipend will look like. And how that works. So that's like, typically it's gonna be around a $5,000 to $6,000 person. We have 8 of them. So it's something we need to look and kind of go through the budget and see if there's, way to squeeze that last little bit. But,
If I remember correctly, we're at roughly a $7 an hour delta on that, right?
like per hour.
Per hour,
pay.
if you break it down.
I think so, that's
So
not
22 versus 29.
That's part-time.
Oh, that's
That's
part-time.
part-time.
We're talking
We're
about
talking
full-time.
full-time.
Full-time doesn't distinguish between EMTs and paramedics.
Gotcha.
But that number, that base pay number is what determines our pension base.
Understood.
So that's what you have to you have to keep that pension base where it's at, or else it affects that, like,
They're
advertising.
not all part of the 77 fund?
They are, but right now, we're gonna have both paramedics and EMTs being paid the same rate.
But they're all part of the, it's 11-year where they are base pay.
Yes.
What's it?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
But that doesn't affect that part, it's when you calculate base pay, there's nothing that's going to separate our EMTs from our medics as far as pay is concerned. They're basically all gonna be being paid the same.
And that's
we
not,
we really need to maintain our paramedics. Like, that's the thing, we have to come up with how do we pay them for their paramedic license, basically. And it's something that needs to be figured out, it's just something we have to have a discussion about, figure that out. because
you're saying our pay scale should have both.
there should be a pay, and then there should
And
be
right
a
now, we just have
stipend
one.
for-
And then they get a stipend for their.
It would be like a yearly,
Because they get a stipend for their diplomas too, correct?
it
For
would
their
be, it
what?
would be on the same thing.
Pardon me?
Did they get a stipend for what?
Diplomas.
Education,
Diplomas,
education, certificates,
certification.
different things.
That's what you're talking about is, so
Yes.
a paramedic would get an extra.
A paramedic would get a stipend, yearly stipend. It wouldn't be a pay thing, or it wouldn't be like an hourly pay, it'd be a stipend.
Oh, that's why you're saying you leave the base pay the same
You
and
leave the
everything
base pay
just
the
gets
same.
tacked on.
You just get there just needs to be a stipend.
Or having that extra certification, you get a little bump.
Right, yeah. It just goes into the certification, but we just need to come up with what that is and what that would look like. And I know it's never a big deal, but it is a big deal right now with the pay and
It's
the
just
budget.
more money.
The budget and
It's
everything
more
we're dealing
money.
with, so it's something that just needs to be discussed and talked about. It's just because we're changing the nature of the fire department right now, we don't need everybody to necessarily be a medic, and we're not gonna find medics right now.
Yeah, I think you'll have to lead us to water in terms of
Yeah, absolutely.
what makes sense. We'll have to figure out
Yeah.
how to pay
So-
for it.
Well, we talked about today the possibility of, if that maybe could come out of something out of the, non-recurring or something.
So I'm sorry, I'm slow. So we're saying that right now our pay is roughly at the EMT.
We base all pay based off them being paramedic. There's only a base pay, which is how much you get at each step for our full-time people. There is a distinction between part-timers, but there's no distinction between full-timers because every full-timer is currently a paramedic. We're going to start having full-timers that are EMTs also.
We've got a uniform department right now where everybody's a paramedic. So there's no need to differentiate that paramedic stipend, that extra paramedic pay. Anywhere else that you go, there is a
And so is it part of your base? It's part of your base?
Yes. If we go hiring, just give you apples to apples, if you've got a firefighter EMT with 5 years, and a firefighter paramedic with 5 years, they're making the same amount of money, you're gonna lose your paramedic. Because he's gonna go somewhere where his paramedic certification is valued and paid for. I'm just trying
So
to-
do we just create a different category for a firefighter EMT?
You can't,
And pay
because
them less?
it changes your pension base for the state. You have to have, so your pension for the state is calculated by base pay, which is your 20-year rate of a firefighter plus your longevity at 20 or 25 years, depending on how far you take longevity out. Those two things are combined together, and that's what the pension rate is based on. So when you pension out, you get a percentage of that number. So that number is the number you want to keep where it's at, because that's what determines what is listed as the town sister's pension base. And like I said, it's not competitive with the neighbors, it's competitive a little bit, but it's.
To the north or
it's-
south, it's nothing better.
South.
Correct. It is.
It's similar, it's pretty much similar now, everybody's going to basically the same, basically up to the north, but that's just base pay, that has nothing to do with paramedics.
So then if we just brought EMTs in, I mean, do we need to create a separate category for just an EMT or not a firefighter EMT, but just an EMT or just a paramedic?
We would have to create all those separate categories.
But you can't do that for pension pay, so whatever your 20-year pay is, the pay determines your whole department. So you can't have a 20-year EMT firefighter pay and a 20-year medic firefighter.
You have to do with stipends.
What it has to be the same pay for your pension base. The stipend, that's why people do stipends, it's a separate thing, and it doesn't affect your pension base. That's the reason why it's that way. You have to do it that way, or else you're gonna pay all your EMTs the same as you pay that. Which isn't fair.
Well, I thought they were at a different,
And that rolls into their overtime as well.
Part-timers are
Not the.
I thought EMT paramedics weren't on pension, that weren't on the, whatever, PERF.
Yeah, they are, but everybody's a medic. So I'll give you an example. When Andrew Pasquale was hired, he came in as an EMT, right? He was paid the medic salary
Yeah,
because we don't have the
right,
differentiation.
right.
So,
No, I got that part.
okay,
But if you forget the firefighter part and just leave it an EMT or paramedic, not that, they don't have firefighter certification, or are we not
so
doing
like the
that?
civilian program.
Yeah, civilian, thank you.
So completely different curve.
Yeah, okay. So are we looking at those as well, or we're let's focused on
Not at
firefighter?
this point, we're focused on the firefighters, and you guys don't require this.
Okay.
We talked about doing a civilian medic program that was $250,000 more than the option that we picked.
All right.
It gets really convoluted really quick.
They don't become FLSA exempt. It's only EMTs.
Correct.
So you have to have, they follow 40-hour work week
Yeah.
as opposed to a 56-hour work week like firemen. So it would require hiring many more than hiring firemen.
So I get it now, I'm struggling though. I mean, so, you guys know me, I'm transparent. So what I'm thinking is, right now, there's raises set aside for next year, and then there's a small group, it's not a small group, it's actually your whole team, that then gets an added stipend. Darren, you shake your head no?
No, we don't get a stipend.
Not yet, but the proposal.
The proposal is yes.
So whatever that percentage is for next year, just went up by a stipend amount. Am I understanding it correctly?
It wouldn't add the percentage, but it would add a fixed amount. There's gonna be 8 paramedics times whatever the stipend is.
So what are we, just ballpark amount, what are we talking?
8 times whatever the number would be.
Well, no, what, I mean, that number, what are we talking?
I mean, ballpark, the market's around that.
So, can I ask
This is the first time we're doing it, so it's a matter of discussion.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I was just curious
Yeah,
why.
yeah. Say 40,000.
So, I'm gonna ask a question, and it's gonna sound like I'm trying to take money away from firefighters. I'm not. Just let me ask the question.
Hasn't been decided.
You guys said the stipend is essentially baked in to the base.
Today it is, yes.
So in theory, don't throw stuff at me. In theory, wouldn't you reduce the base and then add the stipend on top of it?
You can't reduce the base because that affects pensions.
I mean, I understand that argument, but give me a different argument.
That is the reason.
That is the argument.
Yeah, that's why
You're gonna give, Lance and Steve a reduction in pay when they retire in January. I do.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure that's something I'm gonna have to understand that I'm not gonna understand in the next. No, I understand. I'm not arguing that that's not a very valid reason. I'm just saying I'm not gonna understand it in the next 30 seconds. Take it out of firefighter world, okay, and say, if I'm in a normal job, not normal job, that was a dumb comment. If I'm in a job that's not a firefighter, and I'm compensated today to do two things, and my base salary says I'm gonna do those two things for this dollar amount, and then my employer comes to me and says, instead of doing that, I wanna pay you a base salary to do part one, and then I wanna pay you a stipend, which is also guaranteed to do part two. To me, the net should be the same of that.
Let me put it to you a different way.
And again, I'm also understand that we probably don't pay you guys enough. So again, this is not a attempt to beat up on your salaries. I'm just trying to understand kind of the logic if it was sitting outside of firefighter world.
Sure. So here's another example. So in your office, you have a group of people that all have the same certifications, the same education, the same experiences as everybody else. And they all make the same.
Correct.
You go to college, you get your
Correct.
master's degree. Is that worth more money?
Correct, yes.
And that's what we're talking about.
Right.
The difference between an EMT and a medic is a 2-year college degree.
But I guess my argument back to that would be, we didn't start where everybody had the same and had the same base pay. We basically started with a situation where there's a base pay and the college degree, and it's already baked in.
So wait, I think the spirit of your question, are they essentially giving themselves a raise with this, right?
The statement was made that the stipend is baked into the base. So in theory, again,
I wouldn't even say a stipend.
I'm just gonna stop.
We had
I think it's a challenging discussion that is
we
super
had
complicated because you guys live in a different world.
we had a requirement that every firefighter that came in had to have a
Right.
paramedic as well to be able to man the ambulance for ALS. I don't know if that's still the case or not.
We are not starting in a situation where everybody comes in with like a minimum requirement and that's the base. We are starting at a situation where the base is already elevated because they're all medics
It
right
already
now.
includes that medic. So you are correct. Theoretically, you would reduce that firefighter.
And I'm not
EMT.
suggesting we should do that. I'm just saying like in a,
So theoretically, you would reduce that. However, there are implications if you do that.
correct. And those are the implications that I will not be able to comprehend.
It affects
In this
the
meeting.
amount, it
Yeah.
affects the amount of pension that the.
And I'm also not suggesting you guys don't bring us what the plan of what you think needs to happen. I'm not telling that. I'm just trying to understand
Well, in a
the
positive.
push and pull.
In a positive side of all of this, because of how, not convoluted, I won't call it that, but because of how we've done it, it's helped the pension argument for a firefighter in the end. So there's a positive
Yeah.
side to the way that we've done that in the past, but doesn't take away from the fact that we've got to deal with our new life now. And so going forward, that we've got to have that discussion and deal with it.
So I think it's an interesting topic. And I think there's no decision that has to be made within the next a month, right? But I wonder if we keep track of, and I'm just spitballing here and thinking out loud, I wonder if we keep track of how often a person rides on the paramedic or rides on the ambulance as a paramedic and utilizes those services. And you guys can tell me to shut up, I'm done, but And then a stipend added for that, potentially. I don't know. I need to think about it more, but.
Well, probably the argument to that is their medic is on the fire truck doing the same work. So, and they're carrying drugs. They're responsible, most of the responsibility of paramedic is they have to be responsible for narcotics. They have to be responsible for a lot of life-saving things they have to be very good at. But they're also responsible for a lot of stuff that has legal implications. That's the purpose of them, why they have their paramedic license, why it's important. Because we're currently have an ALS engine now, where we are carrying drugs on a fire truck and on an ambulance for both of those scenarios. If the fire truck shows up without an ambulance for a period of time for any circumstance, they are able to implement those life-saving treatments while
Fair.
waiting for transfer.
Yep, fair point,
I
fair
think
point.
that kind of answers
No, it
the
does.
question a little bit.
Yeah. So how many firefighter EMTs do we have today?
0.
How many of the applicants are firefighter EMTs, any idea?
All of them.
They're all
You're not gonna find a
EMTs.
Paramedic right now. Not that.
So that is why this has to be addressed.
Yes. I go back.
I mean, I get it.
I do too. I don't know what the answer is.
So 2 years ago at the retreat, I did a presentation on the amount of paramedics in the state, and when you whittle it down, there's like 100 that are available to bring in as a firefighter paramedic.
I'm gonna shut up soon too. If we would have hired one of these applicants 6 months ago, would our standard procedure have been, you're going to become a medic? If we hired them as an EMT.
That is a whole nother rabbit hole.
All right, then don't go there.
Yeah, in the past, our requirement was to be.
But our thought now is that they would or could remain an EMT.
We need to go determine going forward from here what our ratio needs to be.
Correct. But we're contemplating a future where we will have firefighter medics and firefighter EMTs. We are at least
Yes.
contemplating that
Yes,
future.
that's the discussion.
Yes,
I'm
because
done.
that comes at a lower cost.
Right.
than-
I'm done.
I wanna throw
I'll
one thing
shut
at you
up.
real quick. Your question about, do we make them become medics? If we do that, now we are requiring them to do something and we have to compensate them.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And pay for the school,
Absolutely.
and pay for the backfill, and the overtime, and the
To,
clinical
to
time.
me, I'm glad we have medics. I think it's fantastic. But I think with everything we're facing, having a future where we have firefighter EMTs and firefighter medics, to me makes a ton of sense.
Agreed,
So-
absolutely agree. And-
I'm not
and
criticizing the
that's-
past, but I also acknowledge what you guys are saying, that if that's our future, then we have to figure out how to navigate all the stuff you guys just brought
And
to
that
us.
was the point of my presentation at the retreat a couple of years ago, was we need to bring in a firefighter EMT. He just happened to already be in medic school.
Ah,
So the council said, yes, let's bring in a firefighter EMT, and that's what we did. The position went unfilled for a year and a half. And once we got the okay, it was filled within 3 months.
Just a simple question, that may not be worth asking, but you threw out the number of $5,000 for the spot, which is $40,000 is what it would cost to do that this year. Would it be, how much harder would it cost to phase it in and
everybody we're recruiting right now are EMTs, so.
Retention would be the problem.
And again, in my mind, I almost think we split those apart. A firefighter paramedic and a firefighter EMT, and we're worried about the starting salary or the base salary. So maybe for 26, if we do that, we set it where it is today and don't include that increase. I don't know. Again, I don't know how the pension works, and I'm assuming pension next year, there's whatever raise that base salary rolls into that pension, right?
That's correct, yes.
I get the problem. I completely understand the problem. I don't know what the answer is.
So for all intents and purposes, you guys have what you need from us tonight, correct?
Yeah, as long as you're okay with the lateral process, that was really the only thing we needed to hammer out.
Yep.
And, I think that lets us go forward.
Good? Dennis?
I'm good.
Emily?
I think we need to acknowledge Lance and Chris for the way they work together. I know you guys have put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, so thank you for all your work and your ability to work together and form a vision of how to get things done instead of pulling apart. So thank you. You're appreciated.
Agreed.
Yeah, so you guys know, like he and I talked about, you're gonna say,
Oh, no, I didn't even ask another question.
he and I talked about this, as far as we're concerned, we are equal entities. You're not stepping on my toes, or stepping on his toes. We work really well together. We've got a really good couple months here. It's been really easy for us to communicate. We talk to each other all the time. I talk to him on the vacation. He talks to me when I go on vacation. It's been a good, really good work relationship. So don't be afraid if something's coming up and you need one of us or both of us. That if you call me, it's not gonna bother him. If you call him, it's not gonna bother me because he and I are gonna talk about it anyways. So don't worry about stepping on our toes because we get along really well.
Awesome.
Rhonda, I have a question about the lateral process. Is that in the employee handbook? Do we need to make an amendment to that?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
All right, anybody have anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Dennis Johnson.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right.
Think,
Happy vacation.
make sure you get in the minutes that he
No.